Hey everyone, I'm going to tell you some data from the year 1980 compared to today. The average living age was 70.9 years in the 1980. Today it's 77. That's a 6.1 year increase. The percentage of people with basic education was at 63% of the world's population. Now it's 86, a 23% increase. Freedom of expression, voicing your opinion and criticizing the regime, has also gotten better in most countries, especially in continents like Latin America and Africa. And that's all official data, and you can look it up. But I bet that you don't hear this data on the news though, or on social media. All you hear and see are that things are getting worse. More wars, more conflict, more children dying, everything's going to hell. So a question pops up, why so much negativity? And the answer is because the big media likes negativity. And it's not at all the thing where the big media wants to scare us and they want to silence us, whatever. It's because human nature itself loves negativity. And the media, the big media, is there only to give us more of what we like to indulge in. And I'll explain. 95% of people watch negative news far more than they watch the positive ones. It's because people are wired to pay more attention to negative things than to positive ones. It's not something new, and it's been there since the beginning of our species. It's basically our nature. It's human nature. And this phenomenon is called the negativity bias. And that's the tendency to pay attention to more negative things than to positive ones. But what the fuck does that mean? Well, today we're going to cover what that means and how negative thinking and this negativity bias is making your life worse. So let's dive in. When humans were still underdeveloped as a species looking for shelters in caves, we had encounters with animals quite often. Bears, lions, wolves, saber-toothed fucking tigers. So because of that, if you were to become a caveman in that period of time, you would have to look for danger to not get deleted off of the face of the earth. So you would have to wake up to every single movement, to every single sound, because that could mean danger and that could mean death. And those who didn't pay attention got killed. We became conditioned by our environment to look for danger. And danger is a stressful negative thing, I would say. So because our brain evolved to look for danger, we tend to lean more on the negative side of thinking rather than the positive one. And you might add, okay, Alex, but there's no animals or tribes, humans hunting us right now. Like there's no gazelle with a spear looking to kill you in the city. And I would agree with you. But on the other hand, humans have lived in these hostile environments of survival for far longer as a species than we lived in these modern societies that we live right now. What I want to say is that we had a lot more time to develop these survival mechanisms and let them sink into our brain. Around 299,776 years, and the modern human only had like 224 years, and that's being very generous to tell his brain that a saber-toothed tiger won't jump out of this bush to maul him because he lives in a modern society and tigers are like far, far away. And that's not enough time to cancel all those years of survival. So now we're stuck with this negative thinking brain of ours, the glass half empty brain of ours. Negative thinking is basically our default. We come out of the box that way, out of the womb, but you get what I was trying to say. It's okay. I also love characters like Russ Cole and Tyler Durden telling you that everything's going to shit, that the system is rigged. You know the drill, but you have to understand that they're not right. The world is not doomed. Everything's fine. And totally contrary to that, everything's getting better every single day. It's hard to keep that mindset when all you see are negative news, but you have to remember that the world was supposed to end like 50 times up to this point, and that's not happening, no matter what your favorite conspiracy dude tells you or what your sacred book tells you. If you live in a developed nation, you're fine. We also have to add that there's a lot of bad shit happening in the world. I'm not saying it's all perfect, and there's a lot of room for improvement. Like there's degeneracy, wars, genocides, agendas, a lot of bad things that are about to be fixed and that should be fixed. But just hear me out. For those who are mad at me for saying that the world is getting better, how can you say that the world is getting better when there's this happening and that happening? I hear you, but stop being so emotional. Look at the bigger picture. Yes, I acknowledge and understand that there's a lot of fucked up shit. But now, for example, at least we have social media. If you were to hop back in the 1950s, you wouldn't know that something major was happening in the village next to you because they didn't broadcast it on the television. For example, at the time, we didn't know the disasters that were happening and the seriousness of things happening in places like Vietnam, like Korea, like the Middle East. But now we know, we have live coverage of it all. So if you tell me that things were better back then, your argument is stupid, because now you can directly impact and directly see what's happening and basically donate aid, money, food, clothes, whatever. That's just one point I have. Another point comes across when I hear people romanticize the past. So for example, 70s and 80s. Oh, those couples, that was real love. Those were the real values. Right now everything is fucked, but those were the real values. And they like to exclude the fact that when your grandfather didn't get the dinner he wanted, he beat the shit out of his wife. Do you like those values? Today, in all modern societies, hitting a woman isn't in the thinking realm for like 95% of people. So gender equality also got better and is getting better. How's that? Another point, and it's not backed by data or science, it's backed by my experience. You can tell people that I said so, but it's very relatable, is that negativity is a comfort zone for some people, a sadness of some sort. So whenever something not so good happens and you're feeling a bit down, you start listening to like sad music, like space song or liminal space music, and it gives you this feeling of comfort. And I know this because I sometimes do it too, and that place of comfort is okay for the first 5 minutes. After that, you gotta cut the bullshit out of it and return to the normal state of thinking. And we'll talk about what's normal a bit later. One saying I love is that awareness is self-corrective. So now that you are aware that your brain is leaned towards negative thinking and that it's actually not all that bad in this world, we can move on to an alternative way of thinking about what's happening around us. Enter the realist, a person who accepts the situation as it is and is prepared to deal with it accordingly. The pessimist complains about the wind, the optimist expects it to change, and the realist adjusts the sails. For example, a girl approaches you and she asks you out. If you're a man, you really start questioning that situation because that shit never happens. So you turn to your friend and ask him, did this girl just ask me out? And he says, yeah, man, I can't believe it either. They never ask us out. But you're still not convinced because that motherfucker lies all the time. So you pinch yourself twice and it hurts. Only then can you for sure determine that the girl did ask you out. That's how realists think. Analysis time. In this case, you first had the experience. That's check number 1. Then you asked a friend, did this happen? Yeah, it sure did. That's check number 2. And at the end, you pinch yourself twice to make sure you are in the right universe. Check number 3, you can determine for sure that a girl did ask you out. Probably never going to happen again. Never happened to me. Another example would be if you were colorblind and you saw a stop sign. You would say, that stop sign is yellow. But the guy next to you would say, no, all stop signs are red. Then you pull out your phone, you Google it, and you see the guy's right. Then you Google again, why is a stop sign yellow? And Google tells you, bro, stop signs are red. Please go check your eyes with a doctor. Then you remember, oh, yeah, fuck, I'm colorblind, that's what's up. If you were just to go with your own perception, you would be totally wrong. But because you are a realist, you also ask other people for opinions, and then you ask Google and you realize, oh yeah, I'm wrong. So if you think like a realist, you don't get blinded by your own emotions or submit to other people's opinions or get offended. You, by definition, look for the real thing. You want to get closer to the absolute truth. So we come back full circle. People are biased towards negativity. Most of them will say that the past was better, that the younger generations are shit, and that the quality of life is just not there anymore. The reality of it all is that all of that is bullshit. Most things are better now than they were. Not all, but most. The question is, how do you recognize negativity bias? How do you fact check people, and how do you not fall into the same trap like most people do? Well, I got 10 quick practical tips for you that you can also use whenever you are fact checking if you are being real. Tip 1, is my claim science or data backed? For example, if you were to say, oh man, homelessness is increasing, it's on the rise. Did you really fact check that? Did you just go to statistics and looked it up year over year? Or did you just go to New York and saw a lot of homeless people and then your emotions got the best of you, so you said that? Tip number 2, are you influenced by your emotions too much? We'll take the homeless example again. I got attacked by a homeless guy in Barcelona like a week ago. If I came out saying, yeah man, this homeless thing is gonna only get worse, it's really bad in Europe, did I fact check that, or did my emotion just get the best of me because it was a scary experience? Probably the second. You know, shit just happens. Tip number 3, if you think all studies and evidence is fake and you're leaning too much on conspiracy. So for example, you're talking to your friend and he just released a new medical drug and he says, man, this medical drug is really good. I have studies to show you to back it up. You have to try it. And you say, oh man, that's just backed by big pharma. Believe me. And he says, no, it's not. Like, shows you another study that's independent, and you say, my man, that's all backed by big pharma again. Well, then it's a you problem. Like, not everything is a conspiracy, right? Some things are, of course, but most are not. If somebody shows you evidence and shows you repeated evidence and you really see that it's independent and you're not ignorant, then it's real. Tip number 4, you're very invested with money or ideology in the claim that you're making. So for example, you invested 50K in a crypto meme coin and you say it's going to 100K. People say, okay, give us some evidence, give us some reasoning. We also want to invest. We want to make a shit ton of money. Like, who wouldn't want to make a shit ton of money? And all you have is like, it's a cool meme and believe me, bro. You think that because you are invested, not because it's a smart financial move. So whenever somebody is really financially or emotionally invested in something, I am a bit cautious of that thing that they're promoting. Tip number 5, if you have a low amount of sources you're taking information from. So you heard that the stock market is crashing. So you go tell everybody and scare everybody, but you read that information on tittiesforfun.com. Nobody seems to be talking about it, and it's only on their website. Then it's bullshit. That's like basing your political opinion off of one YouTube video. You have to research more. You have to get more knowledge, opinions, science, whatever, and then make a good decision. Please leave your opinion in the comments below. Click subscribe if you feel like supporting me to keep doing this, and you can also click the link in the description to apply for my community called the Creative Philosophy. It's for people who want to create meaningful content in an efficient and enjoyable way. Until next time, I'm out.